Welcome back to the Line of Fire, 866-34-TRUTH. Let's go back to the phones. Giselle, thanks for calling the Line of Fire.
Thank you. I have a question for you regarding your stance on traditional marriage.
Sure.
So, full disclosure, I was raised Catholic, but I'm actually bisexual, and I accept everyone with different opinions, obviously. So I just wanted to clarify what you think and leave it at that.
Yeah.
I know that you're an activist as well as experienced in theology, so I wanted to know if your stance of having marriage defined as one man and one woman is strictly religious, or if you want to take it to the law, if you want it to be the rule in the United States, and why.
Yeah. First, thanks for asking in such a relaxed and straightforward way, because I know this could be, it's a personal issue for both of us, and you could easily view me with some level of hostility. So whatever your feelings are, thanks for just putting it on the table as a fair question to ask. I really appreciate that very much. So to be perfectly honest, there are two sides to it for me. Number one, I do believe that God's ways are best. In other words, that when God tells us in the Word not to do certain things, it's not because he's some cruel, mean-spirited deity, but it's for our best. I remember showing my daughters when they were teenagers, teaching in the book of Proverbs about getting drunk and the folly of it. And I said, it's pretty relevant stuff. It's not just an ancient book. So, for example, if two people are unfaithful in their marriage and sleep around with others, they might get an STD. But if they stay faithful in their marriage and have a healthy sex life, they won't get an STD. So it's just, there's certain things that just work, right? The alcoholic has a better chance of getting cirrhosis of the liver. So I believe God's ways work best, and that he designed a man to be with a woman and a woman to be with a man. That's how he designed us biologically, socially, emotionally, and that's what's best. So that's part one. I don't separate my life from being a man of faith and someone who loves the Lord. But on the flip side, I genuinely believe that for the best interest of society, we can't tamper with marriage. I genuinely believe if we redefine it, I don't even call it traditional marriage, it's just marriage, natural marriage. If we redefine it, we render it meaningless. You must ultimately, if you want marriage equality for all, if love is love, if love wins, if you have the right to marry the one you love, you have to open it up to all kinds of other arrangements. You can't discriminate against the polyamorous and the polygamous and adult siblings and things like that. Love is love. And ultimately, it breaks things down for everyone. And I believe over the long haul, we'll see that it's not in the best interest of kids, that kids really should have a mom and a dad, and that if you have a single mom or a single dad, you realize there's a deficit. But with a same-sex couple, if they bring kids into the world, by design, they're guaranteeing that kid shouldn't have a mother or father. So the only reason the government gets involved in marriage is because marriage conveys benefits on society. Therefore, society conveys benefits on marriage. And the main marriage benefits are the natural ability to procreate, which is not an option for a gay couple in themselves, and then the ability to join that kid to a mom and dad. That's the only reason government gets involved with it. So yes, both on a spiritual level and on a secular level, I believe that we should not redefine marriage, and I look forward to the day when the Supreme Court's decision was overturned. So that's my position.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Hey, can I just ask you one thing?
Yeah.
Do you mind if you don't have to respond.
For sure.
What break, and we got a break coming up, so I'll ask you the question, and then we got a break, and we'll come back to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, just curious as to what gets you listening to the broadcast, to the Line of Fire, if it's the first time or if you've turned in before. That's part A. And part B, honestly, what do you think of my answer to your question? All right, so I'm not going to argue with you. I want to give you an opportunity to respond. So what gets you listening to the broadcast, and what's your honest response to my response? So stay right there. Thank you again for making the call. Let's go back to Giselle in Charlotte. Yeah, thanks for holding through the break. So the two questions, one, just out of curiosity, what gets you listening to a show like this, or maybe you just wanted to call in for this specific question? And two, what are your honest thoughts on my response to your question?
Sure. So I like to listen to things I don't agree with from time to time, whether it's, don't hate me for this one, but Republicans or religious people, whatever it is.
Oh, good. I like that.
Keep the perspectives in mind.
Cool. So does it get, when you listen to me, there's some people I don't like, and when I listen to them, I mean, I don't like their positions. When I listen to them, my blood can boil a little bit. So is that happen when you listen to me?
Sometimes. Most issues not really, but this one did, and that's why I called. So,
Okay.
in regard to the answer, my thoughts are, well, I kind of knew your answer from growing up Catholic, so that's what I heard growing up. But it makes me a little sad because I know I came to America because there's freedom of religion here, and there are religions that allow for same-sex marriage, and I think that the law should allow for freedom of religion, and as long as there's no harming anyone in the process. And as far as kids being harmed by marriage, I know that 50% of pregnancies are accidental, and gay people don't have accidental pregnancies, and studies have shown that they don't do any worse than straight parents.
Yeah,
so it
those.
makes me sad, but that's what it is,
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's 50% number is accurate. I mean, I've heard that, but I haven't investigated. Sometimes claims are, broadly repeated and not so accurate. But, the one thing on that, a lot of the studies are really very, very defective and lacking in terms of kids raised by gay parents. And the one, and when major studies are issued with, surveying thousands or tens of thousands of people and coming to different conclusions, these people get threatened with losing their jobs. These people get blasted. It's like you're not allowed to come up with data that differs. But one thing that's really interesting, and this is quotes from gay activists, they said, we know the studies also indicate that kids raised in a same-sex home have a higher percentage of being gay themselves, a higher percentage of gender confusion, and a higher percentage of sexual experimentation, but we consider that all positive, so we don't have an issue with that. So there are definitely differences, but do you presently believe in God in any way?
No, I don't.
Okay. Now, did your discovery of your sexuality contribute to your not believing? You found a conflict there, or were there other factors? And at any point, you can just say, "Hey, I'm not comfortable talking about this." So
no, that's totally fine. I actually, I had my doubts to begin with. My sister's older, and she did her first communion, and she actually had to be homeschooled for first communion because she asked too many questions in church. So my parents didn't make the mistake of sending me after her. Mm-hmm. So I was already questioning since I was very young, and the sexuality thing just kind of sealed the deal.
Got it. All right. So the question that comes with that, religion can often be the enemy of God. My wife Nancy, we're both Jewish followers of Jesus, but she was raised. Her mom was married 4 different times, and the first stepfather was a member of a Reformed synagogue, actively involved there, but not even really a believer in God in an active way. And Reformed Judaism is very liberal. And you'd agree with their social moral views, by the way. But when my wife was just 8 years old, not even 8, she concluded there was no God because she didn't see evidence of God in the synagogue. She thought it would be wonderful if God existed. It's a shame there is no God. It wasn't until we met at 19 that God opened her eyes and made himself real to her. So this is obviously an if question. But if you were to discover that there really was a God who existed, not some tyrant in the sky, but your creator, a loving father, more wonderful than anyone you could imagine, but one that also has rules and standards, and we fall short of them. That's the whole gospel message. We fall short. God sends his son Jesus to die for us so that we can know him. If you found out there was a God and that there are certain things that pleased him or didn't please him, again, this is a big hypothetical, but would that affect you? Would that affect how you live or conduct yourself?
I think it would just make me apologize to him a whole lot because I can't change who I am. I've actually tried to kill myself multiple times when I was a young teenager, and those are the reasons, because I thought God would not approve of me ever. So I've come to terms with, if he doesn't approve of me, then it's unfortunate.
Yeah, first, I am so sorry. I'm not surprised that you mentioned trying to kill yourself, but it's just like a stab and when I hear it. I'm fighting back tears because I hate the fact that that's happened to many, that kids have killed themselves. and they would say it's directly a result of them feeling that God rejected them, or that they had no place in the church, or God, why did you make me like this? You cry yourself to sleep wanting to change, you don't find change. So it's important you say that. It's important for our listeners to understand it. As much as I differ with gay activism, I care so deeply for people, and I've done my best to educate other Christians about these things. But if there's no but, let that just stay there. So the question is then, it's not a matter of changing fundamentally who you are. I mean, who you are is not even primarily identified sexually. You're much more than whether you're bisexual or you're straight or you're gay or whatever. But if you just knew that living a certain way was pleasing to him, it doesn't mean changing the desire, right? I'm wired as a heterosexual male, which means I have to watch my eyes. I have to be careful with relations with other women. A woman I'm not married to. I have to, because men can just be wired to be lustful and whatever. But it's a matter of me saying, Lord, this pleases you, and I love my wife. Therefore, I say no to these things and yes to you. I guess it's so hypothetical because you haven't met him, you don't know him. So I'm asking about if you met him. But when it comes to being bisexual, does that mean to you that potentially you could be attracted to a man or a woman, or is it something in life where one year you were one way and another year another way?
In general, the bisexual community has many different definitions for each person. Personally, it means I could be attracted to anyone at any time, and some people have it change from time to time. Some people don't.
Right.
I have been in a relationship with a man for 6 years, so that's pretty steady.
Got it. Oh, okay. So it wouldn't even be a matter of not being in a relationship. It would be in a matter of saying, okay, certain relationships are forbidden. These are forbidden. Do you find any difference in a relationship with a man versus a woman? The way you relate to each other? Obviously, there's certain physical aspects that are different, but the way you relate to each other, the role that you each play in one another's lives, do you find any difference in the relationship between a man and a woman?
Well, maybe this isn't the best person to ask the question for, because I don't believe in traditional gender roles anyway, so my relationships have always been kind of off that map. But yeah, every person that I have a relationship with is different, because they're man and woman, or because they're an engineer, a mathematician, whatever it is.
Got it. All right. Well, listen, can I send you something, just my own little story from LSD to PhD? We put it together on a DVD, and it was a short TV show, just 20-something minutes on our Think It Through TV show. But I go back to the neighborhood where I grew up, and some of the drug background, some of the crazy stories, and then how Jesus came into my life. It has nothing to do with homosexuality or anything like that. The subject doesn't come up. And we don't this would be sent to you, and then your address would be destroyed. We're not putting you on a mailing list or anything like that. But I would just love to send it to you, just to get a piece of my life that's a little different, and that's not related to these moral issues. But listen, if you listen again, there's a gal, when she calls in, she says it's my friend, and she gives me her name. Lesbian woman in a lesbian relationship, raising kids together. So as militantly as I'm on one side, she's on the other, but she is as sweet and friendly as could be, and she listens. Sometimes we'll call in. So it's like, hey, it's my friend there. So if you ever call in, Giselle from Charlotte, just tell Betsy it's my friend Giselle from Charlotte. That way I'll remember, and I'll do my best to get you some time to chat on the air. But if you stay there for a second, Betsy's gonna get your mailing address, and I'll send you this DVD. It's just my life story from LSD to PhD. All right, I got my old hippie pictures in there, just for you to watch. I think you'll enjoy it on that level. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, stay right there, and thank you so much for the call. Well, what a delight to talk to Giselle. Would you pray that God would make himself known to her? Would you pray that God would make himself known to her, that he would reveal the beauty of his love, that he would expose her sin just like he exposed my sin, your sin. We all fall short. We're all sinners needing salvation. And that God would make himself real, that Jesus would become real in her life. What a joy that she listens in the midst of these differences. We'll be right back.